Hi there. This past week, HBO hosted a big House of the Dragon for your consideration panel. Because it's Emmy submission season, Emmys for your consideration, where you submit what you want to be nominated. And this was a big panel. It was the biggest since the finale. Almost the entire cast was there. George R. R. Martin came in person. Doesn't always do that when the later seasons of the other show. Ryan Condal came in person. They talked a lot with the reporters. It was really nice. Everyone came except for both Rhaenyra's and Miguel Sapochnik, who, if you think about it, those were the three who went to the Golden Globes, so I guess it was everyone else's turn to do the traveling and stuff. But it was nice. We don't have a full recording of it, but clips have been posted. If you're wondering about, there is a clip where Ryan Condal alluded to how many new dragons are in Season 2. I'm splitting that off into a separate video to let's keep the discussion focused. That's for the other video. Here I want to just talk about what they're putting up for nomination. And actually, as it turns out, this is the formal announcement season, but we've known this since November. I remember I had to remind myself, oh yeah, I posted about this on Twitter back in November and made a chart. I just forgot about it, because it's been so long. We were all really busy with post-finale stuff, and this was a long way off. But they already put out the list of everyone they're putting up for nomination, so I want to just quickly go over this compared to what Game of Thrones did. And what intrigues me most is the wild card of this is guest nominations, which are a lot more variable. Well, to start with, a big thing I have at awards shows is I think you should really play down. That go for supporting actor, don't overshoot and try to go for lead actor. There's going to be more competition that way. That we've seen that even on Game of Thrones, most of its run, they always put everyone up for supporting. Even Kit, Amelia, Peter Dinklage were always supporting. Dinklage was still supporting in Season 8, and he managed to win in what wasn't a good season. Even through Season 7, Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke were supporting. But you could tell in the later seasons, they were making this massive campaign that we're going to get lead actor wins for anything, for Amelia and Kit. And they rewrote the story to what they consider showing them off, chewing the scenery, and it ruined the characters. Like the theory that Jon killing Daenerys or Daenerys chewing the scenery, going evil and stuff, is because they thought this would win Emmys. For, oh my god, look at this performance and the way they played it up so much. We're not really sure if they based this on something, but even if this is indirectly based on something with their books, just in general, so much of those seasons, the later seasons, are pandering the actors for awards to vicariously boost the careers of the showrunners who wanted to go off to do movies. But it didn't work. That it's playing up. And they had never won a supporting thing, and now suddenly you want them to win leads. That you walk before you can crawl. You crawl before you can run. So, they put Kit and Amelia up for leads in the final season, and it didn't work. And I was very opposed to this, that this is just stupid. In contrast, House of the Dragon did put actors up in both lead actor categories. For lead actor, they put up Paddy Considine as King Viserys, and for lead actress, once again, Emma Darcy as Rhaenyra. Also nominated, they were nominated for Golden Globe, but lost to Zendaya then. That, it's heavier competition, so I'm not criticizing this time is my point, that Game of Thrones was much more of an ensemble, whereas at least Season 1 of House of the Dragon is a lot more focused. I mean, Season 1 at least is the story of King Viserys and his inheritance struggles with his succession with naming his daughter. So these kind of are the two lead characters. If it is anyone's story, it's theirs. So yeah, I think story-wise, this isn't let's push them as a lead to get an award. They are the lead characters of this specific story. And on top of that, their performances really merited it. And they didn't make Season 1 as awards bait for Paddy and Emma. They did it because they wanted a good performance. That you get an award for doing a good job, not trying to game the system. I'm on the fence about this because Paddy got snubbed by every other award of the spring season. He wasn't even nominated for, like, the Critics' Choice Awards or much less the Globes. And everyone's saying, no, he did, like, the best performance of the season. That his performance, to us, the fans, we think Paddy deserves a lead actor nomination at the least, if not the win. But it's heavier competition, so this is something to debate in the comments section. Should Paddy have played down for supporting actor and increase his odds of even getting nominated? Is going for lead too high? I do feel that based on fidelity to the story, yes, he's the lead actor, and the actor's performance merited it, so I feel it's merited. I'm just shaking my head that the world is unfair, he might not even get the nomination. Similarly, Emma Darcy deserves the nomination, both for story reasons and it was a really good performance. Then we get to supporting actors, and here things get interesting because, well, confusing. I've seen this on other shows, not just Game of Thrones, lots of shows. When they submit the for your consideration list of these are things we're submitting on the nominations ballot, they don't expect more than one or two out of these to actually get onto the final nominations list, make the final round. But they put down 4 or 5 people, like, basically, I think, to be nice to the actor, or to give them a little boost in terms of their overall career. Game of Thrones Season 2, I remember this so distinctly, they listed 5 people as Best Supporting Actress, one of which was the actress who played Shay, Sybil Keckley. And maybe that's because the showrunners were obsessed with that actor, but other than that, I don't think they seriously thought she could get in. But that's the early seasons. Later on, they wouldn't promote other second and third tier people. I'll explain that later. But you submit 5 people knowing 1, maybe 2 will actually get in. On this scale of a show, obviously if you're like Succession or The Crown, you do think you can get 3 people in, but that's why there's like 5 people in each of these lists. I'm not going alphabetically, but just start with Matt Smith, who I think if anyone's going to get in, it's him, because he was so prominent. He did a good performance, genuinely good performance. There are people who doubted he could be, oh, he's Daemon, this warrior, and I thought, I've seen him in other things. Daemon is playful and mercurial and dangerous, and he surpassed my expectations, and I was already supporting him. He's great as Daemon. He's a good actor. They specifically cast him because of what he did in The Crown. He was already an Emmy-level guy. So I guess it's funny looking back at all the people saying, oh, he can't, there were people saying Nikolai Coster-Waldau doesn't look like Jaime before season 1 of Game of Thrones, and by the end of the season that had all silenced. So, same thing. Now, I'd put him at the top of the list here because he was also nominated for supporting actor at the Critics' Choice Award, so I think he has a decent chance of getting a nomination here. But some of these, to me, are not also-rans. I think these other actors would deserve an award based on their performance, but we'll see if they can get more than one. Next, we have Steve Toussaint as Corlys Velaryon, who did very well. I mean, so many of the trailer lines for the first teasers and trailers for Season 1 were from Corlys. They're really good. He has range. He has family drama. It's interesting that, like, they said, well, he's like, what if Tywin actually had a good relationship with his family? That he's a power broker, but there's points where he's like, after Viserys leaves, he goes to Rhaenys, who a functional marriage being depicted on screen for once in this franchise, going, did I overplay that? Was I too, heavy-handed lording it over him that we're getting a marriage favorable to us? Because, he's weak. So just that he's a normal guy. But so he had range, he had all of that. I hope he gets other awards for this cycle. He might be the second person. If they have 2, I think he'll get it. But I think we'd be lucky if Matt Smith gets in, because, it's the Emmys. Third one, I don't want to diminish this, that Rhys Ifans did a really good job as Otto. It's just more subtle, but that, he's not evil. That he does care about Alicent in his own way. He's not just a Xerox of Tywin. That he's like a little more ruthless version of the Tyrells. That they're politicians, and the subtlety of that he's lying, and he's not Littlefinger, that he's pretending to be nice a lot, but he's not this utterly amoral, ruthless person, that you see him sighing, that he doesn't like what he puts Viserys through, he doesn't like what he puts his daughter through, he feels it's necessary, he actually has moral standards, he's genuinely offended by Daemon and how he treats his wife. So, interesting. It was more subtle, but it was also really good in his snarking. And the fourth and last person they're putting up for Best Supporting Actor, and this is why I stressed this person wouldn't make the cut, though I really love their performance, was Matthew Needham, who played Larry Strong. He did a really good performance. He is the little finger of this show, and it's just the work they did with that. I am planning a separate video about him because of stuff they talk about in that production book of from script to screen. The actor actually changed a lot of things in discussion with the writers for the better. So he could have easily been just another, sneering, mustache-twirling villain, and he wasn't. He was more of this eerie, dissonant serenity psychopath, so he was really fun. And he brought a lot to that role. So I first, took notice of this guy. He had a minor role in the Chernobyl show from Craig Mazin, so he was on our radar. That he did a great role. I'm just saying, of these four, I think the other three even stand a greater chance of they're all fighting for one spot. How many years, some years Game of Thrones didn't get any supporting actor nominations, like season 2. Then another year, maybe Emilia Clarke got one, or Lena Headey got one, if we were lucky. Before like the final season where they were just trying to, throw awards at them because it's all hype. It's unfortunate that all four of these won't be, nominated, and even then we'd have to debate, well, only one of them can win the final award. But in terms of who stands a chance of getting into the final round, I would guess Matt Smith, purely because he got nominated for that other award. We'll see what happens. But this is a good choice. Okay, this is up for supporting actor. Supporting actress, they actually have 5 people up. Olivia Cooke, and Emily Carey, and Millie Alcock. So it's adult Alicent, young Alicent, and young Rhaenyra are all up for, that they're presenting them up, and hey, Millie got it for supporting instead of Olivia at the Critics' Choice. Who knows what'll happen. I honestly think Olivia did an amazing thing with her role, so I think maybe she would be the top of the list just because of her ongoing role, but who knows. Also on the list, and this is again like Larry Strong, these are people who I don't think they'll make the cut, but it's nice to see. Eve Best as Rhaenys did a really good job, and I'm happy to see that they're giving her love there. And then for some reason, I'll explain this, they put up Sonoya Mizuno as Mysaria, which to me seems like putting Shay on the list. She'll do a lot more in Season 2. I mean, it's good that they're expanding the character, just she hasn't done it yet. This leads into the final thing here about guest actors. You see, the rule for, I looked this up, of how do you become a guest actor on a ballot. The rule for the Emmys is for guest actor or actress, you can appear in you have to appear in less than 50% of the episodes in a season. It's not the same as no more than. If there's 10 episodes, you can't be in 5. That's 50%. It has to be less than 50%. So, to even qualify for guest actor, you have to be in 4 episodes or less. And like if Eve Best went for, she's kind of like the Olenna Tyrell of this, in a way, the older generation, that if she went for guest actress, she would have won. But looking at the list, she's actually in 7 episodes. She doesn't qualify for guest. Similarly, Sonoya Mizuno, you think, well, wouldn't she stand a more serious chance of being like a guest actress? She was in 5 episodes. So she doesn't qualify for guest, so they're being nice and putting her up for supporting, even though I don't think they seriously think she'll get the final round more than the top 3 here. Now, let me quickly compare this to what Game of Thrones did, how it performed at the Emmys. Like I said, only in the final season did they go for leads, that throughout the run of the show, final round of nominations, every year Dinklage was nominated for supporting actor. And he won 3 times for seasons 1, 5, and 8. And remember, they gutted their voting rules at season 5 onwards. That's why they were winning, like, writing awards for bad episodes, for bad seasons. But in terms of who got in and stuff, other than Dinklage, no one else in season 1 or season 2. Season 3, only other nomination of anyone was Emilia Clarke for supporting actress. Then season 4 was Lena Headey for supporting actress, but not Emilia. Then season 5 was Clarke and Headey, And again, they didn't win. Dinklage is the only one who ever won anything. And then season 6, by the point they were really investing in campaigning, is the word they use behind the scenes. It's a multi-million-dollar industry of, priming the Emmy voters. Dinklage was nominated again, didn't win. Dinklage didn't do anything after season 5. I can even argue that he kind of deserved the season 5 award because he was doing stuff on his trip to Marine, but after that they just lost the character. But the nominees in season 6 were Dinklage for supporting, and this time Kit Harington for supporting. And then on the female side, Emilia Clarke and Lena Headey, and for the first time, Maisie Williams. All supporting, none of them won. Then, season 7, it was Nikolai, Dinklage, and Headey, but not even Kit. I think the problem is that in season 7, behind the scenes, they must have been pushing... Because at the Globes, we know, they were pushing for Kit and Emilia as leads. And because they shot too high, they didn't even get nominated that year. That season 7, tell me in the comments, I think it stands to reason, they tried to play up in the lead category, failed, and thus weren't nominated for anything. You go for the low-hanging fruit. You go for supporting. Then season 8, of course, was weird. And I'll explain this, that because of the focus on we need to get a lead, and they were, whereas other years they'd present for your consideration for nomination like 5 people, HBO focused down on the people they thought could win an award. So they nominated up Harington and Clarke, and they put up Dinklage again, he won. Some of the really long-time actors, well, they also put up Williams. Some of the other really long-time actors were annoyed that I've been on this show 7 to 8 seasons, you never even tried to make an Emmy push for me. 3 of them. Alfie Allen, who's Theon Greyjoy, Gwendolyn Christie, who's Brienne of Tarth, and Charisse Van Houten, who's Melisandre. They were really annoyed HBO didn't put them up, so they independently submitted themselves. You can do that. It's not unheard of for that to happen at the Emmys, but it is rare. Both for an actor to submit themselves for something independently and to make the final round of the ballot is unusual. And it's the elephant in the room that they didn't want to talk about, that HBO wasn't supporting Alfie Allen after I've been here since season 1. Or Gwendolyn Christie, well, because only one of you can win. The thing was, they were supporting, this leads into the guest actor stuff, that Charisse Van Houten submitted herself as a guest actress because she wasn't in more than 4 episodes, she was in like 2. Point of all of this, and remember this is one of the key points of this video, going forward, there isn't going to be that much variation among the leads and supportings. It's always going to be the core 4 to 5 actors of what are considered the core cast. On Game of Thrones, the core cast, the core 7, as they defined it by pay grade, were the Stark siblings, the Lannister siblings, plus Daenerys. It was Daenerys, Jon Snow, there was Sansa and Arya, and then on the other side it was the Lannister trio of Dinklage, Nikolai, and Lena. That's what the core cast was considered. So if you think, oh, I'm waiting for the nominations list, it's usually going to be Emma Darcy and Olivia, unless a character dies. But we're going to see the same people submitted every year, usually. There are a few characters that, like Brienne, show up in Season 2 who would be major characters. That would be interesting. But generally not. Guest actor, though, can be so much more variable. It's the wild card, which is why it's a bit more exciting. I wonder who's going to be guest actor this year. Because it has to be something in 4 episodes or less on a 10-episode show, but that's really impactful enough to win an award.